Hello dear, welcome. In this video, I am going to cover the summary of Sonnet 73, its analysis, its critical appreciation, that is, how the poetic devices have been used here, what all the poetic devices have been used, and then some questions and their answers. So, this video is going to be very useful to you. Here, it is slow and steady, and you will understand almost everything what you need. First, let me give you the summary of this sonnet. It is believed that Shakespeare had an intimate friend who is normally referred to as the fair youth. He was the third Earl of Southampton. He was very fair, very handsome, and younger to Shakespeare by, say, 10 years. It is believed that Shakespeare loved this young man very much. Naturally, he expected the same response from the fair youth. But in this sonnet, it is revealed that he did not get what was expected from the young man. So, Shakespeare was very much desperate to get the love from this young man. Though Shakespeare was not that old when he wrote this sonnet, he is portraying himself as an old man who is nearing to death. That means very old. By expressing this, he wants to make the fair youth understand that he needed or he expected more love from the fair youth. The idea expressed in this sonnet is very, very simple. Shakespeare says that he is old and he needs attention, he wants love, care, affection, and the fair youth has to respond. That is, the love for Shakespeare should increase or it should become stronger than what it was earlier. As Shakespeare is a poet, he wants to express his feelings poetically. So, in this sonnet, in the three quatrains, he has expressed the same idea of getting old and getting near to death. And in the couplet, he expresses his desire to get more love from the fair youth. In the first quatrain, Shakespeare imagines himself to be an old man. He compares his old age to autumn of a year. It means Shakespeare considers the whole 1 year as his whole life. So there he is telling that he is in the autumn of his life or late autumn of his life. The imagery he has given here is that the leaves of the trees have gone yellow. So this represents autumn. And most of the leaves have fallen. This also indicates late autumn. The few leaves that are still there hanging in the boughs are shivering due to cold, he says. This is something strange because trees never feel cold and never shiver because of cold. It is the human beings that do. Here, Shakespeare personifies the boughs or the tree as being human. By this, he expresses that he is old and his life is almost getting to the end. Therefore, he needs love and affection. In the second quadrant, it is different. He is considering his whole life to only one day. The birth is compared to early morning, that is dawn. He considers the night as his end of life. Shakespeare compares his advancing age to the sunset. After the sunset, there will be twilight, And this twilight would be swallowed by dark night. Here, dark night represents the death. In the next line, he says, death's second self. This is a metaphor used for night. It means night is another form of death. There is no much difference between death and night. The night brings temporary death. In the third quatrain, Shakespeare reduces his whole life to only few minutes. He is comparing his old age to ember or a dim fire which is surrounded by ash, and this ash is going to extinguish the fire. The ash is compared to the deathbed. That means his life is going to end soon. The irony about the life is that what nourishes something ultimately consumes it. The fire is nourished by the log, that is the wood, and this wood converts itself into ash and it extinguishes the same fire. That means it consumes the fire. So, in the same way, in human life also, the life is consumed by the life itself. So, in this case, energy in his body, that is the youth, you can consider, this gave rise to the old age and ultimately is extinguished. So, like this, in all the three quadrants, idea is same, but metaphors used are different. So beautifully he has expressed this. In the last two lines, there is a couplet. We come to know that this is about love, not just about getting old or dying soon. Here we see that the poet is expecting the fair youth to understand this situation well. So if he understands well, then definitely his affection and love for Shakespeare would increase. That's what he wants. In the last line, he expresses that the strong love should bind them because they are going to depart sooner or later. So, before they depart, they should love each other very strongly, and the bond of relationship should be very strong. Now, the analysis. In this sonnet, Shakespeare has used three main metaphors through which he has expressed the old age. First, the autumn, which is part of a year, is compared to old age. Second, the twilight, which is a part of a day, is expressed as old age. Thirdly, the ember or a dim fire, which is surrounded by ashes, is compared to old age. And there are some extended metaphors like bare ruined choir and death's second self. The themes of these sonnets are old age, desire to be loved, and a strong relationship. Tone of this sonnet is somber, unrest, and urge for love. As far as the form is concerned, most of the lines are in iambic pentameter. The rhyme scheme used is AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, GG. In the first line, you find both consonants and assonance. You see how it is. That time of the year thou. That time of the year thou. Here, repetition of the. So this is consonants. In me, behold. E. Again in me, E. Behold, B. So E is repeated. So it is assonance. Next line is upon those bows. O, O, O. So it is assonance. This line has alliteration in this. Death's second self that seals up. Here the words second, self and seals, all three have consonant s in the beginning of the words. Therefore it is alliteration. The line that creates an image is called imagery. We can find ample of imagery used here. The first one, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against cold. Here the branches of the tree bear few leaves or no leaves, and some leaves that have been left shake due to the wind. So this gives an imagery. The next one is bare ruined choirs. This group of singing birds is referred to as choirs. When these birds fly away, it looks like this. This is what is referred to as bare choirs. Second imagery is the ruined church. Earlier, a group of singers used to come and sing here, but now they have deserted this place and the church is completely ruined or destroyed. This could be the imagery for bare ruined choirs. And these lines also give an image. As after sunset fadeth in the west, very beautiful scenery it brings, and which by and by black night doth take away. A beautiful imagery. We can also find the figure of speech personification used here. Yellow leaves do hang upon the boughs which shake against cold. Here, the branches and the leaves are considered as human beings that feel cold and shiver. The second sentence is the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie. The phrase his youth, that itself indicates that it is personification. And there is a simile also in this sonnet. See these lines. That on the ashes of his youth doth lie as the deathbed whereupon it must expire. The word as, which is making a comparison. The ashes as the deathbed. Here is an interesting statement, consumed with that which it was nourished by. Here, two contradictory words, consumed and nourished, are used. So it is a rhetorical statement and it is called a paradox. Hope you have understood everything well. As the video is already very long, I would like to give the questions and answers in my blog. This is my blog address. Go to Google and type all these things. You will get my blog and you can select 10th standard where you get all the questions and answers. Thank you dear for watching this video. Please share with your friends and like the video and visit again my channel.